I remember being a little nervous. I know for sure I was clueless. I had no idea how to do this job at all, and I was most definitely wondering if field inspection was even legit. But after the first few weeks or so, I got my first paid job. And I can tell you that I have not looked back since. Now in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how I got my first field inspection job so that you can do it too. Still see it right there. You got to go up the ladder right there. I was like, you told me about the ladder before we got on the elevator. So first, let's just talk about where I started from. Before I began field inspection, I was working from home. I was working through an electric company, dealing with all of the bills and all of that stuff. It was a very strenuous job. At first, it started off as not being such. You know how they give you the rundown and have you feeling like everything is going to be great when you start working with us. There's not going to be any problems. All you got to do is this. You go through training, the whole 9 yards. And when the actual job itself starts, it's nothing like they described it to be. And that is what I was dealing with. And I worked it for, I want to say, at least going on 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. I could be misquoting that, but I know I worked with them for a minute, and it was very strenuous. I was full of anxiety. I was having all of these issues. I was running back and forth to the doctor. I didn't know what was going on. All I knew is that I was not myself. And I realized after a while that I needed to find something that I can do that would get me away from all of that stress and strain that I was dealing with on that job. Dealing with the job beforehand where I was working somewhere and we were actually being laid off. I managed to get out of there before they shut the actual building down, but I knew that it was coming and I was just tired of that. I've dealt with that a couple of times and I knew that I wanted to do something that would stop me from even having to deal with any of that. And that would be mainly to find me something to do on my own and work on my own time. So in the midst of working from home, I had already got my commission to do notary work. And I received that just so I could do loan signing. But the loan signing workload was not coming in the way that I thought it would come in. In order for me to replace my 9-to-5 job, I needed something to be coming in and be fluent, flowing on a regular basis to where I can not only make what I was making on my 9-to-5, but I also wanted to be able to make more and over and beyond what I was making on my 9-to-5 job. Loan signing was just not doing it at the time. So that's when I started doing research and I ran across field inspections. I needed something flexible, something I could most definitely do on my own. And I didn't know exactly what I was actually looking for at that moment. I knew that I needed to find something that could replace at least those off days that I was actually not doing any loan signing at all. And that, of course, once again, is how I ran across field inspection doing my research. I found it actually on YouTube. You know how you see the videos of people talking about being able to make at least $100 a day and all of that. And I was like, wait, what? $100 a day? Just doing what? Okay, so what are we doing? Because you know when you work a 9-to-5 job, of course, a lot of us, we're already making $100 a day. But when you're trying to do something on your own, you don't want to start off penny pinching. You don't want to start off making $20 and $30 here. You know what I mean? And not being able to actually make your money so that you know you can survive each and every month without having to stress and strain and worrying about where your next dollar is going to come from or how you're going to pay your bills. So, of course, it did pique my interest. And I had to definitely dive in a little deeper and see exactly what this field inspection thing was all about. So, of course, I started doing research. I started digging and poking and looking around and trying to figure out how I can get into this. Because a lot of videos don't tell you how to get into it. They just talk about it, but nobody's telling you how to exactly get into this area of work. So I was like, let me do a little bit more on my own and let's see. It took me a week or two just really spending all of my extra time looking into what exactly field inspection was. And I ran across one of these YouTube videos where someone was talking to someone and he had a website. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you are familiar with it, SoFi. So I said, well, you know what the heck? I'll do that first. Once I reached the SoFi website, I saw this big red join button. Okay, so I knew I had to do something at that point just to see. I wasn't expecting anything to happen out of this. But when I clicked the button, a few days on down the line, I received an actual phone call. Phone call was going to actually end up being my first paid job. And the person who called me was calling me through NRS. A lot of you are very familiar with the fact that I did start my first work in field inspection through NRS. And I talked to him, and he assured me that they would be able to teach me how to do the work. Not saying that all companies would do that. I'm just telling you what my journey was. So once he gave me what he wanted me to do as a test run, I went out and I did all of that. And when I submitted it in and I learned the back office of their business, I was good to go. And I realized just how simple that was. And I was like, okay, so this is, first of all, it's legit. Second of all, there really is no reason to be that nervous or shallow. Let me see what's going to happen when I head out and start going to these homes. Because, of course, that's what I started off with first. I was doing inspections on people's homes. Now, before I headed out, of course, you know you have to fill out all of the paperwork. So you have all these DocuSigns and everything coming in your email for you to sign all of the paperwork for your 1099. Once all of that was situated, and I don't quite remember if there was a background check, but I'm pretty sure there was. It's been so long, but I'm pretty sure there was one. But once I got all of that situated, my workload started coming in. And when I first received that first email saying that I have work, I was ecstatic. I was like, there is no way that this is actually going to occur. And it wasn't a few, it was several that they gave me to start off with. Well, you know what? For a newcomer, I'll say it was several, but more like 5 or 6. But no big deal, nothing to, write home about. But when you're first starting off doing something that you have no idea of what to do, and you don't have any thorough training as of yet, yeah, 5 or 6 is a lot. And of course I had to get gear. So we're talking about the monopod that you use so you can take pictures of the roof, the measuring wheel, things of that nature. I had to get all of that in order to make sure that I was prepared to get out and do the work. But of course I had to have that when I even started to do the actual test run in the first place. So I quickly went on Amazon and I ordered the cheapest that I could find to at least start off with so that I could get it coming in, on that Amazon Prime. As soon as I received it, I would be able to do the actual run through that he asked me to do without him asking me, have I done it yet? I would already have done it and turned it in. So now after I knew that this was actually legit, I needed to apply for some more companies. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, so now if they're only going to give me a few a week here or there, that's not going to get it. So let me see about getting signed up for more companies. And I knew that on SoFi, the book was there. So of course, I invested in myself. I ordered the book. And I started from the beginning of that book. And I worked my way all the way to the end of that book. And I applied for everything that I could actually apply for after, of course, reading the descriptions and making sure that it was something that I really would be able to do. So I just went on ahead and signed up for as much as I could, and I hoped for the best. And I started receiving calls. I started receiving emails more than anything. My first ones that was coming through was like Millennium. We have Cox and Smith, Field Services, places like that were contacting me, asking me if I was interested in doing any work for them. And that's because I had found them in the book. The first jobs that I was actually doing, of course, like I said before, were homes. These homes was ranging anywhere from the outside of the homes, of course, $20 stops to do the outside of the homes. And then eventually they started giving me inspections where I was having to make appointments to go on the inside of the homes. And then the prices started to change. If it was just some sort of questionnaire that they had to answer, it might have been $25. Then it went from there to $32 to $45 to $65. It depends on what type of inspection that you're doing when you set appointments for these homeowners. And then it advanced from that to, of course, high value homes. Those started coming in, and once they seen I could do those, they just kept coming and kept coming. The pay was great, and it was very much what I needed to start getting to a point to where I could replace the job and get away from the stress. Of course, I had to do both at the same time. But at the end of the day, I knew what I wanted and I had to do what it took to get there. I wish that I had known about this a long time ago, because if I would have known about field inspections, you guys best believe I would have already been doing it way before now. I would have eliminated all of the stress and strain that I was dealing with the job that I was doing at that moment. I would have never had to worry about the job before then that I had grown accustomed to, that turned around and decided that they were going to shut the building down. I would have never dealt with any of that, because this is what I would have been doing. And now it's the best thing that I could have ever done with myself, and that is being a field inspector. So my advice to any and all of you who are probably thinking about getting into field inspection, you just heard from me that this is legit. The work is real. They do actually pay you to get out and do this work. There's no guarantee that you'll get work where you are. That is for sure. But I can tell you that if you are one of those lucky souls in areas where the work is fluent, there is work for you and you will get paid. It will change your life and how you think about work, because now I don't even think about it as being work. I get out many days, even though I know I'm on appointments, and I may still have to ask somebody, or at least ask myself, what is today? Is today Tuesday or is today Wednesday? And then I look and I realize it ain't either of the two. It could be another day. I lose track of days. When you're losing track of days, you're really doing something that you enjoy doing. That is for sure. There's no more waiting on Friday. Ooh, I can't wait till Friday to get here. Ooh, hump day. None of that. That stuff is over, and it is in the background. It is in the rearview mirror, and when I drive off, I don't look back. It's just depending on you, how much you want it, how bad you want to be a part of this type of industry, and how hard you put yourself out there to get it done. Your research and you investing in yourself. Everything will depend on you, including where you are when you're trying to sign up to do this work. So that is how, in a nutshell, that I got my first field inspection paying job. Okay? No fancy equipment, none of that. No experience whatsoever. All I had was a whole lot of faith. So if you're on the fence and you're wondering if you could actually make any money off of this, and if you could actually replace your job, sure you can. If you put your best foot forward, all you could do is what? Try. Go ahead, sign up somewhere, sign up for you some companies, and at least attempt to get started. I hope that this video was able to help some of you who are probably wondering exactly what all the steps are to actually get started, and are probably wondering how I got started. Those are your answers. And in the meantime, you guys know what to do. Like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, because you know I'll be bringing you back something later. Thank you guys so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day.